Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome back to the TCEC Season 27 Superfinals between the two top engines Stockfish 17 and Leela C0. As I'm recording this video, out of the first 16 rounds, out of the 100 rounds that have to be played so far, the result is +2 for Stockfish. Stockfish gained so far 9 points and Leela C0 gained 7 points. And I think we had never such a great start in any of this TCEC Superfinals. The games so far in the first 16 rounds were really great. We have already 6 winning games, and I think the draws were also spectacular. Yesterday, for instance, we have covered a great, incredible game played by Stockfish against Leela from the round 8, in which Stockfish created such a crazy attack, but Leela played really an incredible, really an immortal fortress idea and actually squeezed the draw out of the seemingly lost position, which was very crazy. So the draws are also great, the winning games are really spectacular, and now in the round 10 I think you witness the rage of Stockfish, because in the round 8, as I mentioned, Leela somehow got out of this mess and squeezed the draw with a beautiful fortress. But today, Stockfish, I think, simply raged against the Leela C0 with an incredible, against such a brutal attack against Leela C0's Dutch defense that was, of course, prearranged by the organizers. So let's see now what happened with the white pieces. The fish opened with the move C4. We have now the move E6. So far, the Ng5 defense against the English opening, but now after move D4, D5, knight to F3, C6. So far, we have the Queen's Gambit decline, this triangle system, and now after knight to C3 and F5, we have now the Rubinstein variation of the Dutch defense here after move F5 and bishop to F4. This was also the prearranged move by the organizer. I want to point you out that actually Stockfish in the reverse game managed to get a draw in this opening, so it's not like Stockfish has an advantage because Leela is forced to play a bad opening. Stockfish had to, of course, play also this slightly, I would say, bad opening now for black. After bishop to F4, knight to F6 was still the prearranged move by the organizers. E3, bishop to E7, bishop to E2, and now the last move that was prearranged by the TCEC organizers is now the move kingside castles. From this point on, the engines have to now calculate the position for themselves. And okay, Stockfish calls. Leela C0 attacked now the bishop, and Stockfish plays now very interesting line, played now the move G3. This move is, I think, pretty solid because after knight to D7 that Leela played and H4 by the fish, many of us, I think, would take this bishop on F4, would go into maybe a situation where black has simply the bishop pair on the board, but the bishop pair is actually not so brilliant in this blocked position. We can notice that the position in the center is really blocked. It's really immobile, so that's why the bishops are not so great in these types of structures. In a potential line that I've analyzed at home, here e takes F4 can be played, and then you try maybe to get the bishop into the game, but then after queen to C2, maybe knight to B6, C5, the position gets more and more close. You're trying maybe knight to D7, but then B4, you're trying B6, and then maybe black is trying to create some kind of an attack on this side of the board. But even in this scenario, if anything is traded off here on the queen side, again, the position is so static. Maybe it's not a completely losing game for black or something, but the bishops really don't have fun in these types of positions. This bishop is blocked by white pawn structure, and this bishop is blocked out by black's pawn structure, so the bishops are not so well placed all over the board. So that's why after move H4 by the fish, Leela didn't take out now the bishop on F4, wanted to do something else and play now knight to F6. Stockfish continues now with knight to G5. What should now here black do? Even if you try, I don't know, knight to B6 to protect now the pawn on E6, then the issue is C5 is going to happen. You have to now maybe here play knight to C4, and then, I don't know, B3, you're trying to step back, then we retreat with the knight, and still white has a great control of the E5 square. This knight is a little bit misplaced. It's out of game. Even if you try knight to E4, we can go into this line where I would say white has a much better activity. Look at this. This bishop will come into the game. This bishop is well placed. This bishop is out of game by black. This is also not a good piece. The knight is on the edge of the board. So in none of these lines, I think black can do something. Then you would try here B4. You're trying to step back, but now also the C6 pawn could be hanging. So it's just one line that I realized at home. Of course, white and black don't have to play the game like this, but I wanted to point you out that this pawn is weak, and it's really hard to defend this pawn for black. So that's why knight to B6 is not working because of this ideas of C5. So that's why Leela C0 was forced to play a really passive move knight to b8. And now Stockfish says, okay, your position is so passive, I have to punish this somehow. And Stockfish plays now a brilliant plan with the move king to g2. Leela tries h6, and you can guess what the fish is doing. Stockfish is not retreating anymore in this game. Stockfish plays now the amazing rook to h1. This is the way to go. And when we watch now the time mark here, Stockfish used now only 2 minutes to calculate this move. Really fast calculation here by the fish in 2 minutes, pardon me. Stockfish says that this is the best attacking idea here for white. Very wild stuff. And let's see now options again, how black could maybe defend this position. Let's see if h takes g5 is working. If that happens, then h takes g5, you're trying maybe to centralize the knight, but then the issue is that white gets simply too much activity on this side of the board. Look at this. First of all, we protect this one, and then we're trying, of course, to build a queen and rook battery on the h file against black's king, and this is almost undefendable. Even if you try maybe to hide with your king towards the center of the board, then queen to h1 is coming anyway. You're trying to escape, but now finally this rook is coming. You cannot play something like bishop to g5 because of queen to h5 loses again the bishop. Even if you try, I don't know, here rook to g8 to protect this pawn, then bishop to h5 versus check. You're trying maybe to cover. Now we can even pick it up. Look at this, and then queen to h5 is again here winning the game. You cannot get closer with the king towards the rook. Again, completely winning position here for white. Even if you try rook takes f4, I've also analyzed this line. Seems like a tempting idea, because in this tactical sequence you would get maybe 2 minor pieces for the rook, but it's again not working, because after g takes f4, the bishop is coming into the game. The life scores are a huge problem against black's king. You're trying maybe to, I don't know, cover this pawn, but then again the check is coming. Then we can even take it off, and now this other rook is coming into the game. Too much pressure. The bishop is coming, the queen is getting here. Simply devastating position here for black. So you see, after rook to h1, black cannot take so far the knight on g5. Then the position is simply collapsing on the king side. So that's why Leela tried knight to e4. Stockfish continues with knight from c to e4, and we have f takes e4. And usually this is a position that the Stonewall Dutch player wants to get when the position is blocked now here around the square e4, and usually black would have great attacking chances, especially around the square f3. Then there are some maneuvers maybe to get the light square bishop into the game, but now nothing is working, because Stockfish pushed really Leela's pieces out of the attack. Look at this knight is misplaced. This bishop will maybe eventually somehow get into the game, but it's a long run. You need 3, 4, 5 moves just in order to improve any of this activity by your minor pieces. So this is not working. After f takes e4, Stockfish says you don't have time anymore. Now Stockfish going for the g6 square. Now finally h takes g5 by Leela. H takes g5, and it seems so that Leela is defending this position with bishop to g5, but now Stockfish prepares again a tricky idea, bishop to g6. Bishop to g6 is again a preparation to deliver checkmate here on this side of the board. Even if you try, I don't know, bishop to f4, this wasn't playing the game, but seems again like a logical idea, because you getting rid of another attacker of whites. But then g takes f4, you're trying to escape, and now look at this. This rook is coming into the game. We can even sack the rook here. Then the queen is coming, check. Then a new check. You're trying to escape to d6, and then now you get even a checkmate with the pawn. Very immortal tactical sequence. So that's why for bishop to g6, you see you don't have time to pick up this bishop with the bishop. So that's why Leela tried rook takes f4, but now g takes f4 kicks away the piece again, and Leela tried to lock out now the diagonal, pardon me, the h file with the bishop, and keeps now this the bishop on this diagonal, where it could maybe attack somehow white's position. But you can guess the next move by Stockfish. Stockfish is raging here really with an incredible rook takes h6. This is the way they go. Stockfish just continues the pressure. We have now g takes h6, queen to h5 is coming with an attack. What should you do? If you try here king to g7, then rook to h1 is simply too much pressure. Queen to h8, then queen to e5 is coming. The queen is lost. You're trying maybe something like this, but then a bishop to f7 deflect the queen from deflect the king from the defense of the queen. So game over here for black. So after queen to h5, we have queen to f6. Leela is trying to get a new defender into the game, but now another brilliant move by the fish, rook to g1. Not first of all taking the pawn. Who cares about the pawn? It's time to include now a new attacker. Now the rook is very, very dangerous against the king on the g file. So that's why Leela escapes to f8. We have king to f1. We have now knight to d7, and now bishop to h7. There is now a threat of rook to g8. That's why king to e7. Leela is trying to escape desperately, is running now with the king, and now rook to g6. An attack against the queen, queen to f8, and now queen to h4. Again, a new check. Leela covers, and it seems so that Leela is somehow defending this position, but now Stockfish continues finally with rook to h6. You cannot take, of course, this piece with your knight because the knight is pinned to the king by the queen. So it's really complex position now. Stockfish calculated everything that this should be still winning for white, although white is down the whole piece. We have now b6. Leela is trying now bishop to a6 to put this bishop on this diagonal and also somehow attack white's king, but nothing really can happen against white's king. Even if you get this idea, black doesn't have any attacking support. The bishop is coming maybe into the attack, but no other pieces are supporting the bishop. Meanwhile, many things are happening here on this side of the board, where of course white has now a dominant position. Queen to g5 by Stockfish, continue the pressure. Now comes this idea, bishop to a6, and now come king to e1, bishop to c4, and now f5. Great move by the fish. You cannot do so much. You cannot pass through, of course, because of d takes e5. Continues the pressure here. You could maybe try here, I don't know, e takes f5 maybe instead of something else. Pardon me, sorry. Here after f5, bishop to a6 first was played by Leela c0, and now Stockfish plays a really an interesting move, a3. This move I really liked in this attack because there are maybe some chances by black when black escapes from the attack and then to deliver fast a check on b4, then the position could be endangered here against white's king. But a3 is a brilliant calm move, and now there are several choices. E takes f5 seems again tempting here for black to somehow release the pressure here, but it's again not working because after bishop to f5, then rook to h7 is a huge threat. You're trying maybe to get this one. Look, this rook to h7, you cannot pick it up because of the queen's activity. Then you're trying to escape, then we attack simply this one, and now in this scenario again completely winning position. Now we can even trying to deliver checkmate here for king to c8, queen to f5, and now after a couple more moves you get checkmate. So this e takes f5 is not working because simply the pieces are playing in beautiful harmony. Bishop to f5 and then rook to h7 is then a huge threat. Really amazing attacking ideas here by Stockfish 17. But I really loved, as I said, this move a3, which is a calm move in which Stockfish is again saying, I have everything under control. You cannot defend this position easily. Leela tries c5 finally, and now f takes e6. We have now bishop to c8, and now bishop to f5. Bishop to e6, and now comes this idea that we have discussed, rook to h7. You cannot pick up the piece because of the queen's activity against black's king. King to e8, and now we have bishop to g6. First a check, king to d8, and now brilliant idea here by the Stockfish engine, bishop to f7, disconnecting finally the queen from the defense of the knight. And if you try maybe bishop to f6, bishop takes f7, then queen to f6 is going to happen. Even if you cover with the queen, then first we play queen to f4, and there's simply no good defense against here against rook to h8. You could maybe try, I don't know, bishop to e6, but then you lose the queen. If you try rook to c8, then obviously you lose the piece here. If you try to escape to e8, then again this one is working, and if you step back here, then the rook is lost. If you cover with the bishop, we'll simply pick it up. If you cover with the queen, again the queen is lost. So bishop to f7, really brilliant plan, which is not allowing here even Leela c0 to pick up this piece on f7. So that's why Leela tried queen to e7. Stockfish continues now with the check. Leela has to now step back from the 7th rank, and now Stockfish grabs this very important rook on a8. Now Stockfish has a situation where Stockfish is up the exchange. You cannot pick up even the piece on f7 because you're running into this line where the queen is lined up on the 7th rank. Again, game over here for black, so that's why king to b7. But now Stockfish plays finally bishop to e6. Leela takes out now also the rook, but now bishop to d5. All of this mess Stockfish created just to create an endgame in which Stockfish has an extra pawn. Look at this: knight to d5, queen to d5, king to b8, b takes c5. We have b takes c5, and look at this. We have reached now this endgame in which Stockfish has only one extra pawn out of this madness that Stockfish created in the beginning. Now Stockfish has still, I would say, completely winning endgame, but really brutal game. Stockfish attacked, Leela defended somehow this position, and now it's finally reaching a clear situation where we really notice what's really going on now on the board. a4 by the fish, queen to e8, queen to d6. Now Stockfish pushed the pawns further. Leela is trying to somehow get the queen into the game, maybe deliver, of course, some repeated checks, and now Stockfish plays a calm queen to d7, king to a8, and now queen to c6. Again, Leela is stepping back, and now queen to b5. Now Stockfish took, and now finally queen to h1. The queen is coming actively into the game. Stockfish is escaping here from the attack and is still threatening the checkmate on c8 if Leela doesn't react correctly. So that's why king to b8. Stockfish centralizes the queen to b1, and now Stockfish simply pushed the pawn further. Queen to b3 is not an option here because after queen to e5 and here queen to e4, you would lose another pawn. Then afterwards, Stockfish would probably trade off the queens, and then in this endgame again, it would be game over here for black. After a5, Leela tried this one. Stockfish again gets the king closer. Again, you cannot play something like this because after queen to b4, Stockfish will reach this endgame where Stockfish is closer to the pawns, and it's obviously still winning endgame here for white. After king to c3, that's why queen takes f2. Stockfish pushes now the pawn further, is threatening in some lines maybe to deliver some checkmates with the queen on b7. Here we have queen to h4, which my Stockfish engine at home evaluates as really now huge blunder, but I would say in any of this line still white is winning. It's just a faster loss here for Leela. Queen to e1, king to c4 can be played, but now the king gets more and more centralized. You can pick up maybe this pawn, but it's not working because after a couple more moves, look at this, the king is marching towards the center of the board. You're trying maybe to do something like this. We still deliver some check, new check, and now you just slowly but surely you push the pawns, and still I would say completely winning endgame here for Stockfish. But queen to h4 leads now into a faster win. That's why, as I said, maybe a mistake here by Leela, but now Stockfish attacks the king. Again, a new check. Now Stockfish has this continuation where Stockfish can grab another pawn, and after a couple more moves, it was really over. Stockfish delivers some checks, pushes now this pawn further. Here Leela is trying to escape somehow, but Gale goes now with the queen behind, and Stockfish can promote now. Leela has to give up now the queen, and after queen takes a8, in this particular position, Leela c0 resigns. So, great game here by Stockfish. Great destruction of the Stonewall Dutch with a very incredible attacking idea. This was really the rage of Stockfish, where Stockfish yesterday, as I mentioned, somehow missed a win and didn't recognize Leela c0's possibility to go into a fortress idea. I think a similar thing happened in the round 12. I think the round 12 will also cover. So as I mentioned, many great games. We have already only 16 rounds. Out of the 100 rounds have been played, and we had so far seen incredible attacking motifs, queen sacrifice, rook sacrifices, brilliant attacking ideas, fortress ideas, defensive strategies, attacking mortal sequences. So really brilliant super final we had so far in the TCEC season 27. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Brutal attack here by Stockfish 17. Please check out yesterday's game, The Immortal Fortress by Leela against Stockfish with the black pieces, where Leela squeezed the draw in a seemingly lost position. And if you want to see some other beautiful computer chess games, check out our commented chess games here of the AIs. Here's also the link of our playlist. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.